Great. Well, we want to welcome everyone. We appreciate your participation in the StratusLIVE Workplace Giving Platform webinar featuring our special guest from the Mercy Health Foundation. We'll be talking about workplace giving, how the Mercy Health Foundation is fueling fundraising success, the greater community impact, and how you can achieve similar success as well with the StratusLIVE platform. And so I'd like to just share a bit about what our topics are today. We'll do brief introductions for the speakers that are presenting. We'll have a nice discussion with our special guest, the Mercy Health Foundation, and speak about the overview of the workplace giving product itself, the workplace giving platform, and then take a product tour. And as we move through that, feel free to, we'll be wrapping that up with the questions and answers, but feel free to submit. We invite you to submit some questions in the chat box provided. And then also some other general housekeeping items. We'll be recording this webinar to share with all the folks after the session is over. And on our side, we're muting the mics, and we just suggest that you might do the same at your end, just so we might prevent any possible feedback. So without any further delay, we want to share with you the folks that are here. I'm Michael Kowalski, Business Development Manager with StratusLIVE. I have our very special guest, Becky Sittason, the System Director of Donor Engagement with Mercy Health Foundation. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Terrific. And then I also have John Funari, Founder and Chief Software Architect with StratusLIVE. Welcome, John.
Thank you. Hello.
So quickly, just to give a brief overview of StratusLIVE, we are fundraising experts with fundraising expertise that's exclusively focused and rooted in the nonprofit community. Today, we'll be sharing the Workplace Giving Platform, which helps meet workplace giving, corporate social responsibility, but also employee engagement and to achieve fundraising goals. And when speaking of who StratusLIVE is, we're really excited to share our clients. And you'll see on the screen a representative group of clients using StratusLIVE Workplace Giving. And on the left part of the screen, you're going to find those nonprofits that we're partnering with the StratusLIVE solution. And on the right side, these are the organizations, both for-profit and nonprofits, that are utilizing the solution to reach out for company philanthropic means and purposes. And they're leveraging a workplace giving platform for greater community impact, and they can better engage their employees, plus achieve higher fundraising goals. And so the highlight on the screen will demonstrate there's more than 750 organizations utilizing StratusLIVE Workplace Giving Platform, and they're reaching in excess of 1.2 million employees utilizing solution, and that was only in 2017 alone. So the nice part about that is these organizations that we're working with and partnering with, they're leveraging this great flexibility inside the Workplace Giving Platform product for both fundraising and supporting their internal programs and encouraging further employee engagement. But not only that, but they're leveraging the StratusLIVE platform to provide them greater ability so they can do fundraising as well as positively impact the communities in which they reside. And so with that said, our special guest, as I said, is Mercy Health Systems, Mercy Health Foundation, Becky Sittason. Again, I wanted to say welcome, Becky. We really appreciate you participating. And if you would, give us a brief introduction, quick introduction of who the Mercy Health System is and the Mercy Health Foundation.
Okay, thanks. So who we are today on August 30th is going to be a little bit different than who we are tomorrow when we merge with another very large health system known as Bonsecours, mostly on the East Coast. So currently, we have 23 facilities in 8 regions across Ohio and Kentucky. In Ohio, we are the largest healthcare provider, and we have 34,000 employees, as you see on the slide. And then also to understand our foundation is we are one foundation, but we have foundations in each of our 8 regions. So we work as one, but we also have to be careful to understand the personalities in each region, and that's what really makes us unique. And when we merge officially tomorrow with Bonsecours, we will be in, we will add 13 more facilities, and we'll add probably another, I think it's 17,000 employees, so we will be hovering around 50,000 employees.
Wow, that's impressive, explosive growth in the process. Can you tell us a bit about what caused you to start looking for a new fundraising platform? Feel free to share any past experiences and any of those sticking points, those pain points you may have been going through at the time.
Sure. So in the Cincinnati region, we're headquartered in Cincinnati, and so we have our home office here, and we have 8 different hospitals, 8 different locations in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. So when we started the Mercy Strong campaign in 2016, that was our first year of doing a region-wide employee giving campaign, which is pretty hard to believe that it took us till 2016 to do that. But I had the good fortune of being the lead on that initiative, and so what we found with the original workplace giving software that we were using, which was not with StratusLIVE, we found that reporting was really difficult for us, and we couldn't do it real time, and that became a huge challenge. When you're working with a large group of volunteers, our campaign is very, very volunteer-driven, employee volunteer-driven, and you can't give them accurate reports on an instantaneous basis. It gets extremely stressful. And a lot of our users found the software that we're using to be pretty confusing. We didn't have a lot of flexibility to make changes, and that was another big challenge that we wanted to be able to just go in there ourselves and fix a typo or change a header or something like that, and we didn't have that. So the flexibility really led us this way, the reporting, and our old system was just clunky, and with more of the shopping cart experience with StratusLIVE, that really turned us onto it. And I'll say that to tell you how much we love StratusLIVE, we're going live October 1 with our campaign. So right now we're working on setting up the campaign in all the Mercy Health facilities and our 23 facilities in 8 regions. And so my head was about to explode this morning, but I love StratusLIVE so much. I said, I'm doing this. I'm out here to tell everybody how great this product is and how much they've helped us.
So that's a common theme. Some of those pain points that we hear you speaking of are common themes that we hear across the nonprofit community. So tell us, how did you discover StratusLIVE and what made you select us?
So we actually had a recommendation from United Way of Greater Cincinnati, and because we had worked with them very closely, we combined our employee campaign with United Way in 2016, so that they really gave us a good, strong recommendation, and we went with it.
Great. So when you began this implementation with the StratusLIVE Workplace Giving Platform, it was about the summertime, you had to roll this fall campaign out at the Cincinnati and a few other locations. Can you share with us some of the results?
Yeah, I can share the results, and I can also tell you that when we launched this, we didn't think that it was any big deal, that we were starting in midsummer and we're launching October 1, and we suddenly realized it was a big deal, and that it was the only way. I can't imagine pulling it off with anybody else. StratusLIVE was right there with us the whole way. We met the kickoff date. Our system, everything was live, even in advance of October 1, so that we could train our volunteers and test it. And the support that we received from StratusLIVE was great. And we were assigned to really one person who was very responsive and helped us really customize everything specifically for Mercy Health and the Cincinnati region. So we had a wildly successful campaign. We doubled our participation, and we also increased our dollars by 60%, which was really phenomenal. And as we all know, the old adage, no good deed goes unpunished. And so our executive leadership team was so excited about that, that they really asked us to take this ministry-wide or system-wide.
Yeah. And so with sharing that, what were some of the tactics that made the campaign successful? And we'd love to hear some of the product features you found most intriguing.
Right. So out of out of the gate, the communication tools are a big advantage. You can send emails straight from Workplace Giving or StratusLIVE, and we could customize those by different constituent groups. People had responded, people had not responded, and people had given in the past. So we could do these great email blasts that were formatted just beautifully. StratusLIVE helped us format them to specific constituent groups, and then we had a series of emails that that were very nice and articulate, not as I'm going to blow it right now, but we haven't heard from you. Where's your gift? Or you gave last year, and then we were also able to turn on and turn off the email features. So once you had given, you stopped receiving the emails from us, and people really like that. So I'd say that the communication was fantastic. It was very well organized. A little scary pushing the publish button when you know that it's going to go to 9,000 people. And trust me, I'm terrified when I push that it's going to go to 34,000 people. Right. A little scared about that. And then the fact that we were able to build our landing pages and our what StratusLIVE calls the process wizard, which is really the donation process, alongside the StratusLIVE was very helpful. It helped us increase our self-sufficiency, and that we were able to get to the point of updating the platform on our own when we needed it, and adding impact stories and things like that. So it was really great to share screens. For some reason, they didn't fly us to Virginia Beach, which I'm still kind of trying to figure out why. But so
that's
we
coming.
Really had. Okay, thanks. So so we really appreciated that, and we never felt like we were on an island. The other tactic that, which is all built into the platform, is really the shopping cart experience. It's very intuitive. It looks like when you go online to buy something, and we just really didn't have any issues with that, and we were able to do a lot of customization, and StratusLIVE walked through us and we said, well, can we change that? Yeah, you can change that, this and that, and so we really appreciated that level of personalization and support, which was really just fantastic. So we were able to really reach all of our individuals that way. We even had a spot for, I don't want to give, so we could really track what our penetration was.
Right.
And so people,
it sounds like you've had. And it sounds like you had quite a bit of positive feedback. What were some of the end users saying, as well as those that were coordinating the whole process through StratusLIVE Workplace Giving Platform?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we all know that there's always an executive who can't figure out how to use it, right? And so there's this pretty awesome feature where you can impersonate people. So if I was on the phone with someone and for some reason, 2,700 people had already figured out how to use it, but this particular individual could not, I could just log in there, impersonate them, and make their gift for them, and they would get an automatic email. So our problem children absolutely loved it, and then our people who 99.9% of our donors had great feedback, very positive feedback. They thought it was quick to use. Like I said before, it was intuitive. We offered several giving choices, meaning that you could support several different funds and projects throughout the region, and they loved having all those choices. And then also that you could donate PTO time, that was accurate on the old system. It didn't convert to hours. We couldn't convert hours to dollars and things like that. So it made our PTO donations go up significantly. We probably doubled the number of PTO hours that were donated through that. So the feedback was really just wonderful. People loved getting the email confirmation, and we really felt that our voice was heard because we had lots of things that we wanted for our donor user experience that they were able to add for us, and multi-campaign support.
Sure, and there looks like your coordinators, when they were requesting additional feedback or insights or enhancements from StratusLIVE. I thought you had mentioned at one point that there was some users that had needs, and they were requesting those needs of StratusLIVE. How did you find the experience there?
So do you mean like in terms of designations?
With StratusLIVE and how we were responsive, listening to the requests that you had from the coordinators and users.
Yeah, I mean, that was fabulous, and it makes me really want to move on to how we're expanding the program throughout our whole ministry, because when we went into year 2, and now we're doing 8 campaigns across the ministry, we had some things that we really wanted to figure out, right? And so we went into this discovery phase with StratusLIVE that was phenomenal, and we really addressed all the different things that we needed to be able to take this, practically times 4 in terms of the number of employees that were going to be involved. So we went into the discovery phase, and we were looking at our contribution data extracts. There were some things that weren't jiving quite right with our data, minor things, but we dealt with constituent IDs and employee IDs, and we needed a unique gift identifier. We needed timestamps. We had to figure out how to identify who was at what point somebody gave, and then pretty much everything that we put out there, StratusLIVE was like, yeah, we can do that. Oh, that's in our next release update. That's in our next release update. That's in our next release update. And it was pretty phenomenal, because then we get this release and went, oh my gosh, that's everything that we needed. So we were really excited about that they were really anticipating what we needed, and definitely listening to their users. And it's just a very personal company to work with. That's been our experience.
Well, you mentioned that you've got explosive growth both within the campaign, but also the organization is nearly doubling the size of its employee base. What about some of the any final thoughts right before we get into the product tour that you have from others, other employees, what benefit they saw for the Mercy Health program and the product with StratusLIVE? Was there anything else that you heard?
Right. Well, I'd say a couple of things. I made some notes I want to make sure that I had a chance to address, is that it's really helped us connect our employees to the mission in a new way, and that's part of making a charitable gift, but it's really brought our employees together more as a community, and that we can actually, with this expansion, to have these localized campaigns. So when I talk about 8 regions, we're talking very, very different regions, right? So some of them are more urban, some are more rural, and while we're one system, they really want to keep their local identity. And so we've been able to do that. We've been able to have some templates, but also customize along the way for each of those campaigns in each of those regions, so that they have their own giving options, and that they have their own emails that are very specific to them. And so that's making the expansion. That's making it much more palatable to our regions who've already had employee giving, that we can keep their local identity. So that's been a big plus, and really we're able to really maintain the heart of each location. And then we've also found that it has the funny thing is that it's really increased awareness of the foundation. So if you're with a large healthcare organization, you know that you can be out there raising money in millions of dollars every year. If you're like, employees like, I didn't know we had a foundation. And so when I'm going to the within our region, and I talk about in Cincinnati, I talk about the Mercy Strong campaign. People, I say, I'm with the foundation. I'm like, I didn't know you had a foundation. And then I'm like, have you heard of Mercy Strong? They're like, yeah, I'm a donor. Well, that's the foundation. And
so that helps having that platform. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly. And we found that in the Rose Club in our Youngstown region, and we found that in the CARE campaign in our Springfield region. So that's been really advantageous to us. And so it's also generated a lot more new ideas in terms of fundraising that, we're choosing to do our campaign just once a year. but people are asking how we can use the platform in other ways. And then it's also generated a global health initiative project that we've been doing for years. It was a hospital in Haiti, but now the employees are coming to us and saying, we want that to be part of Mercy Strong. And they're bringing other projects to us and saying, we know that our employees want to support this. Can we please add this to Mercy Strong? So that's been really phenomenal for us, connecting people to our mission and to our overall corporate social responsibility. So I'm speaking from a healthcare perspective, but I do believe that it goes far beyond, as you see on all the different clients that StratusLIVE has, that you guys can pretty much make anything sing and dance. Right, John?
Well, yes.
Right.
That's perfect, Becky. And so instead of me continuing to talk about it, well, I'm going to turn it over to John to actually give a product tour of these features that Becky is sharing. So, John, feel free to pick up right here and start the product tour.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Michael and Becky. That was really informative, and it's just great to hear the transformation that's happened there at Mercy Health with the platform. It's just really exciting stuff. So anyways, for today's demo, I wanted to highlight a few of the tactics that Mercy Health has employed that Becky has been talking about to increase engagement with our platform. Whether you're a large foundation like Mercy Health or a company wanting to provide a robust employee engagement solution or a nonprofit looking to deepen corporate relationships, there should be something in this demo for you. And hopefully by the end, you'll have some new ideas that you can apply to increase your engagement and overall fundraising results. So let's get into the demo and learn more. This is the main homepage for the Mercy Health sample site and where we're going to be doing most of the demo today. You'll notice that this site is themed with the Mercy Health look and feel. All of the colors, the fonts, the logos are from their corporate brand. The StratusLIVE platform provides full content management functionality with the ability to select from a number of out-of-the-box or custom themes. The top navigation bar here is easily configured to present content pages that we will discuss shortly. And just notice the imagery and the messaging here on this site as we go down. And I think this is one of the areas that Becky highlighted, and something they did a really good job is just being relevant to their donors. So Mercy is a large system of 34,000 employees that work across the organization, but they are spread across different geographic regions, as she mentioned. And so one tactic they applied here is they created these microsites, if you will, that target these various regions. And so you'll see some of the imagery here. If we go look at Mercy Toledo, you'll notice that it's the same brand, same color scheme and the logos and everything, but the content is going to be slightly different. And so this allows each region to be autonomous and create the messaging and have their own programs, their own designations, if you will, that are separate for each region and to keep it local. So this is Toledo. We've got Paducah, which is another one. I think you said, Becky, you're rolling this out now to 8 different regions with 8 separate microsites. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so part of the platform is we can take like a template, we can basically clone a site and then provision for these other microsites. And then at that point, you're basically just changing content. So it's a pretty quick and easy process. Back to our demo site, the next thing I want to point out is our real-time giving gauge as we go down the page here. So this is important because it gives the donors and the employees kind of a real-time view of how they're doing towards the goal, kind of across company-wide. And so you'll see there was a $600,000 goal amount, and they well exceeded that with a 20% response, and these are the number of donors. And so as the employees are participating and giving on the platform, this is going to change. And so, of course, it's going to start out at 0%, and then over time, you can watch it go up. And so that's a good way to incentivize the employees to participate. Down here at the bottom, you'll see a nice touch where the matching partners, we've got the various logos here of companies there, corporate partners that are providing matching gift programs, and this is some good advertising for them. One of the other big things that's important is you need to be able to meet donors where they are. I think that was one of the themes as we built out this platform, is we wanted to make sure that regardless of the time or the device, and you'll see as I bring this down to like more of a mobile form factor, you'll see that it responds to the device. And so whether they get an email, so hospital workers obviously have people working around the clock. We've got a number of customers who have people out in the field on a mobile device or whatever. And so when they receive that email to give, they can just simply get it on their mobile device, click the Give Now, and the entire giving shopping cart experience can be done from a mobile, just like on Amazon. And so you'll see the little hamburger icon right here. This is how we can get to a lot of the different menu options. So a lot of our customers really enjoy that feature. Next thing we want to look at, I don't know, Becky, if you want to speak to the Power Hour Club or Double Your Impact. I know these were big programs that you guys had set up,
yeah,
but I know
you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. So just, I mean, from terms of other ways, getting ways to finding ways for people to increase their giving. So what we did for the Power Hour Club, we were able to really explain that that's anyone who donates an hour of pay per month. And we had done that the first year. It was very confusing to people, but once we were able to set this up with a good graphic and some explanation, we really did increase our Power Hour donors. And then we also did well with the matching gifts. I didn't want to interrupt you, John, but once we introduced those matching gifts, we believe that helped increase our participation as well. And those corporate partners were thrilled to have that visibility among the 9,000 employees in our region. So this was just a great communication device for both of those campaign strategies.
Well, that's great. And I know you had mentioned before about being able to segment and target donors, and so I just wanted to quickly just look at some of the emails, and you'll see that the emails are branded. I think the marketing group really enjoyed the fact that they could brand the emails with their corporate information, and then and so what we're looking at here is just a donor, one that participated last year, and what that would look like, and you're basically thanking them for participating last year. I thought that was a nice touch, just reminding them that, hey, we understand that you gave last year, and we're hoping that you participate this year. And then over here is a new donor, and I love the tactics that you use by each day directing those different populations to different pages. Looking at like the impact stories and the power of care, just highlighting some of the things that you guys were doing there in the community and in your funds, right? So let's move on then, since we want to see the actual giving experience. So once we receive the email, the donor will click on a link and they're taken to the giving site. There's a number of different ways to log in. You can just have the standard username and password, which I'm going to do here. A lot of our companies are now doing single sign-on, and so we integrate with basically any identity provider, whether it be their Active Directory or Azure, or we've integrated with dozens of different providers. And so you go ahead and sign in here with this test donor, and we'll click the Give Now. So we go ahead and give. This is something new that we'll hopefully touch base on if we have time. This is our multi-campaign. This is a new capability where you can run your standard corporate campaign, and then throughout the year you could have different campaigns running at the same time. So we've always supported multiple campaigns, but now you can have them running concurrently. And so if you have an evergreen campaign that's just always running, well, you can now do a Heart Walk or a back to school program. So that's that really came from requests from, I think, your group, Becky. Moving on to the giving experience, the first thing that we're presented with here are the different payment methods. And you'll notice that we've got a lot of different options. I think this is important because you want to present as many ways for employees to engage or give on the platform. And so these are the ones that Mercy has: payroll, credit card, check or cash, this paid time off that she had touched on, and stock. We also support additional payment methods, custom payment methods. We have some companies that have special like bonus programs or incentives that they run throughout the year, and so we can support that as well. we'll go ahead and add a payroll deduct. And a couple things you'll notice, we mentioned the shopping cart experience, so there's a couple steps in this giving wizard, if you will, and of course all of this is customizable. The product ships out of the box with most of these steps, but you can trim it down if you want it to be a quicker experience. On the right-hand side is the kind of the real-time status. So as the donor is filling out the information, this is going to update. So there's really no confusion on the giving experience. You'll notice that this particular individual already had an amount populated. That is a suggested gift amount that can be set up per employee. So if you have an idea of their giving capacity, you can do that. Of course, you could leave it blank and they would come in and wouldn't see anything here. But I'm going to go ahead and give just do 4,900 here, and you'll notice that we get a little pop-up here. You can increase your pledge by just $100 to qualify for the gold recognition level. And so these are little notifications to try to increase the gift as they get closer to the recognition level. Of course, the recognition levels are customizable based on your business rules, but typically they have a monetary amount that they qualify for. So we've added a payroll deduct. The next thing, we can also add additional payment methods, and this is a big deal because if I want to do pay time off with my payroll deduct, I can do it with one pass through the wizard. I don't have to go, most systems you have to go log in again, and we can support any number of payment methods through one pass through the shopping cart. So for this, I'll just go ahead and donate 10 hours here for a PTO, and you can see this particular individual has a 40-hour max, and this can be set per employee. We'll go ahead and continue to the next step, which is kind of the selected designations. What we're presented here are the featured designations or funds, if you will, and you'll notice the Jewish Hospital is prominent, and then the Sister Kathy Green Legacy Fund. You can have any number of featured if you have like the area of greatest need, and the nice thing about the different microsites is these can be configured either at a campaign by campaign basis or a site by site basis, and so you can certainly change this.
John, can I jump in here?
Sure.
That was a great tactic for us because we had a project for each of our markets within the Cincinnati region. I told you we had 8 facilities, and so we were able to highlight, we were able to connect. So if I work at Jewish Hospital, the featured designation that's going to pop up first is Jewish Hospital, but it's where he's hovering the little hand now. But if I wanted to give to something completely different, I could. And then, so let's say somebody lived near, they worked at Jewish Hospital, they lived near Fairfield Hospital, then they were able to go in there and support Fairfield. So it really helped increase our giving to specific hospital projects, that the ability to highlight certain features, and now we're doing that throughout the ministry. It's really helpful.
Great. If we want to give to other charities or funds, we can click this select change to designations. And this presents basically the full list of all of the charities or the designations that are on the site. And you'll notice we can scroll through and you'll see some pretty logos and the various names. We can then search either by name, by city, by state, by federation. I can go ahead and take a look and drill in. And so we've added, we've curated some data for many of these charities, and we've got logos and URLs, so we can provide information directly on the site. You don't have to go off the site to do some research. We can go ahead and add a charity. Let's look and see what else do we got. Go ahead and add a few of these here, add to the designations. And so now I can decide how much of the total gift amount that I want to designate to each of these charities. And so I can use this quick and easy slider if I want, maybe to give 25%, or I could just simply type it into the box. And you'll notice up here at the top that this status bar is telling us how much we have remaining. and it's not going to let me give over the amount. So that's pretty easy. Over here on the right, the real time is showing where the money is being designated and the status of our contribution. So we'll move on to the next step, which is step 3, selecting affinity groups. Affinity groups really just represent different kind of groups that people can opt into. And Mercy has this Sister Kathy Green Legacy Society. Affinity groups don't necessarily have to have a monetary limit. This one has a $5,000 to qualify, and so we'll go ahead and select that and continue. Then we're presented with the user profile, and of course this information is going to be populated based on the data that we have from HR. So if we have a lot of this information, it will be populated, but they can go and add to it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. And then our final step is just to review the gift, review and complete your gift. So we can wish to remain anonymous, and these are customizable flags. Yes, I want to volunteer for Mercy Strong, and so I could select these if I wanted to. By reviewing the gift, we just look over here on the right and make sure everything is the way we want, and then once that's complete, we just simply click the finish button, and it should take us to our thank you page. This is, of course, a customizable thank you page. You can make it look and feel the way you want. We're also presented with an upsell or a tip jar concept, and this is like a particular fund, and this is prompting me to log out. This is kind of like banking software where it'll automatically log you out if you're idle for very long. That's important for hospitals and big organizations where they share computers. But anyways, this legacy fund is just a quick kind of tip jar that I can add, so I'm given through payroll, so it'll just add to my payroll deduct, 77 cents over 26 periods. That looks good. And that's a pretty effective way to highlight a fund, if you will. And that's it. That's the giving experience for a brand new donor, somebody who doesn't have a giving history. Pretty straightforward stuff. And then a thank you email will be sent out immediately following that gift, and it'll have all the breakdown of their designations and a thank you, and that's it. Let me hop in and show a renew donor, since we have some time, and their experience is just a little bit different. I'll go ahead and log in there. So this is somebody that that participated last year or has been giving over time. You'll see that we have a giving history and some profile information, so they can go in and look at the past giving. This particular individual only has one historical gift, so they can see the amount, the payment methods, and the designations, how it was all broken out. And of course, if they had many gifts, they would be listed down on this giving history. So that's pretty nice, but let me go ahead and show the giving, how it's just slightly different for this donor. When I click the Give Now, you'll notice that I'm not taken into the payment methods. I'm presented with another option here. So I can renew a gift from last year, or I can start a new gift and designation. I want to show, starting a new gift will just take us through the wizard that we saw. Renewing a gift from last year will present the gifts that I had previously made, and then I can select it. And you'll notice here, so here's my gift from last year, but there's also a percent increase. And of course, you can configure this either per employee or globally. We're going to, right now, this one's got 10%, and you can see what that will look like. And so if I'm happy with that as the donor, then all I have to do is click this checkout. If I want to go and make changes, it'll create this gift and take me through the wizard. But I want to do the one-click checkout.
John, I'd like to say something about that contribution history. So the renew gift option is fantastic. Also, if you already have an employee campaign, if some of our participants have already had employee campaigns, we actually loaded the previous year's giving history into StratusLIVE. And we're doing that again for the entire organization. And it's really helpful to the regions who already had employee giving campaigns to be able to add that history. So just because you might be new to StratusLIVE doesn't mean you can't have a history.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Becky. All right. So that concludes the giving experience. I would just want to highlight a few of the new features that we've built this past year. One of them being self-registration. We talked about single sign-on and loading up an employee roster, but there's a lot of organizations that either the company doesn't want to provide a roster file, or you just want to run a different kind of campaign and open it up for other users using this platform. And so that's what this self-registration feature will allow. And so what we see here is by clicking on that, if I don't already have an account, it's pretty much just like any other social network or website. We can go in and select a username, a password, an email, and since this is a corporate campaign, we have employee information, and of course, much of this is customizable, so if you want to trim this down on how much information you require, you can do that. You'll see that we've got some of the employers, so there's multiple accounts, multiple different hospitals there for this. Enter in their employee ID, and then there's this concept of business units, which is that's pretty important for reporting. That can represent either a department, a location, really anything you want. And we'll, if we have time, we'll touch more on this business unit concept in just a minute. But once you fill all this out and register for the account, you'll receive an email to verify your email address. You are who you say you are. You then click the link, and then you've got an account, and you're logged into the system to go in and give. And so that's a pretty nice concept. That's also, there's a lot of use cases that we're starting to see for this, for like new employees who have, who you may not load up the roster. You could just have this available and point them to the site. Like I said, for those companies that do not want to provide a full roster file, if you're a nonprofit or something, maybe they don't want to give you the full roster file, but they'll allow you to have provision a site for their company. That would be another nice way to use it. And so that's self-registration. A new feature which you saw before when I go in to give is the multi-campaign. Let me get back to the home page and click Give Now. And so this is nice where we've got the multi-campaign support. And let's just look at, if I want to read more about a particular campaign, now we can start targeting these different campaigns and speak to them individually. And so the Mercy Strong Fund, obviously, a lot of this stuff is in relation to that. But you'll see that we've got the goals over here on the right. All of this information here now is within the context of this campaign. And so that's really powerful when we talk of like the Heart Walk, because it's probably going to have a different goal and different participation, requirements versus some of the other campaigns. And so all of this is set there. If I go and click the Give Now here on this Heart Walk, you'll notice that we're only allowing credit cards or check cash gifts here, which is pretty neat. So if I add the credit card, and because maybe I'm just running this for like a week or some kind of short time period, you'll notice that our designations are already set to the American Heart Association. We're also allowing reoccurring credit cards here. And so we could just go through, and there's only 2 steps. So there's basically enter in your credit card information and review the gift, and that's it. So that just kind of shows you the flexibility and how you can tailor these different campaigns. So a lot of people are excited about that. I mean, if you think about, back to the school programs or disaster relief or holiday campaigns, or if you run some kind of gala or some kind of foundation event, I mean, there's just the sky's the limit for what organizations can now use this for. So that is the multi-campaign support. Go ahead and sign out now. And it looks like we've got a little bit of time left to go into the administrative side of things. So I'm going to log in now as an administrative user and go in and take a look at the dashboard. And So obviously, it's a full security, and we've got a number of different user roles that we can secure things. This particular user has access to just about everything. But if you're like a coordinator, maybe you'll just have access either to your employees or maybe certain content pages. There's a lot of different ways that you can restrict based on the permissions. What we're looking at here is the dashboard. And you'll notice right now, this is basically all of the campaigns. So all of the active campaigns that are going on, you can see like a total rolled up across all those campaigns and the participation, and then a breakdown of a couple different charts on how things are moving along. So basically, this countdown here is the latest day for an active campaign. But I can also go and drill into particular individual campaigns as well. And so I can just look at the Heart Walk. Maybe this one just kicked off, and you'll see there's not a whole lot going on here. But this one will continue to change as people donate. All of that's real time. So that's just a quick overview of the dashboard. Let's talk through the employee populations. I know Mercy they used this very well to kind of segment their donor populations. If I go in here and create a new group, it'll present some of these that we have out of the box. So we have a couple base level populations. We've got all contacts, which is basically the whole data, all active employees. We've got the non-responders, so these who have yet to participate. We have incomplete contributions, and what that means is basically they started their shopping cart, they started to give, and they have some kind of monetary amount, but they have not yet completed. Or outstanding prior year donors. And so I could use any of these populations and target a mailing or an email directly to them, or I could even further break them down. And so I'm going to do that here with this all contacts. And so this is a pretty straightforward way to just segment the data. You'll notice that we've got a lot of the attributes for the employee. But if I go down here to the user defined, so we have a number of user defined fields that you can really use any way you would like. And I know Mercy has leadership set up on user defined 4, so this is just a quick way for them.
All these user defined and business unit fields really helps us not only with reporting, but because we had a lot of stiff competition between the different markets. This was a huge help, and even within the departments, our volunteers were saying, well, how's my department doing? We could use a user-defined field and tell them how their department was doing. So you can really drill down with this data, which is extremely helpful.
That's great. And so anyways, I just clicked the view results, and from this view, I could either, I could pick specific individuals here, maybe that I want to send an email to, or I could email the whole group. And I could do that either directly from here and pick one of our email templates that we have, or if I don't want to do that here, if I just want to save this kind of as a reusable query, I could do that and just give it a name. Whoops. And just save that query. And then it'll be available for use with our other email blasts. Yep, so there's our leadership query that we can now use. If we go look in content, so this is another area. This is where you're going to go and create the custom content, either the custom pages, the content pages on the site, or let's take a look at the scheduled emails here. And this is where what Becky was saying is where you could go and create and schedule an email blast to go out to your particular employee populations. Let's take a look at one of these, the why give here. And so we ship with a number of templates out of the box. And so then at that point, you can just upload with your own branding, put your own images in here. And so this is a kind of a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get editor. It's pretty standard stuff. And then you can upload your images, or you can edit the source code if you want, or you can just do it all within here. And that's pretty straightforward. And this is where you can also set your date for when you want to publish, when you want to send out the email. And so you can schedule this out for a particular day. And so you can set all this stuff up either before your campaign or however you want. You can pick your donor employee populations here. And so if I wanted to, I could do my non-responsive contacts and basically send a different message or however I wanted to set it up each day, all from within here. So that's pretty cool. So we've got about 10 minutes, so I'll just quickly highlight business units and reporting. Obviously, that's another big area that's important. And the way this works is business units, as I mentioned before, can be set up really any way you want. So they could be hierarchical. Let's say you have 3 or 4 different business units within your organization, and one of them is like their office location, then maybe the department that they work in. Maybe they're, a subgroup within that department. So you continue breaking it down. And obviously hospitals, a lot of times, they're so big, they have so many different levels. Or they could not be related at all. You could have a business unit. They could really represent anything you want. It could be a demographic type of measure. It could be something totally unrelated to the organization if you wanted to. You just want, really, it's for reporting and securing the site. So if you wanted to grant access to employees in a particular business unit, you could use it for that as well.
Hey, John, a question popped up. This is Michael Kowalski. A question popped up. Could those business units be applied to like a chapter or affiliates? Is that how that is meant to be used as well?
Oh, sure. I mean, we've got, some of these sites have hundreds. So if you have a big set of chapters, I mean, we've got hundreds of business units. So it could really go as far as you wanted to take it.
Okay.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Right. And we have other questions. So when you're wrapping up, I'll actually, when you wrap up on the reports piece, we've got some, looks like very engaged folks. So I've got an interesting question when you finish up your report portion. Okay,
great. Well, let me just show. So we've got maybe, I don't know, a dozen or more reports, participation reports, pledge response, payment methods, summary. I mean, there's a number of different reports, and a designation report, and a lot of business unit reports. So basically summarizing the data by the business units. This is just a quick designation report. And you can see we could break it down by campaign period, which is like which would be the whole year, or by campaign. So if I really wanted to drill into a particular campaign, I could do that as well. And so this is just a group by designation, like how much money has been raised for all the designations on the site. And it's in alphabetical order, so you can get a feel for how that is. You can also, for the reports, you can export them out as CSV, Word, or PDF. So if you wanted to further break that down, you could go to CSV and apply some filtering there. We also have extracts. So we've got a roster extract. We have 2 different contribution extracts. And typically these are used if you want to do like really deep reporting. And so it'll pretty much extract most of the data, contribution data from the site. So you could do that. Number 2 is you could also use it for integration with other systems. So if you're not running our StratusLIVE CRM, which our StratusLIVE CRM is fully integrated with this, so everything would be integrated automatically. But if you're running like Blackbaud or some other solution, you could extract out of here and into that system. And so we've got a number of customers who do that as well. So the last point here, before we get to questions, I just wanted to highlight the employees. The way you set up these business units, obviously you don't want to try to have to key hundreds of business units, or look. We make it very easy on the employee roster. You can upload the employees by CSV. And so inside that template, we actually present the business units. And so if you have a list of employees or a donor population that you want to load up, you just provide it in this file. And then there's a field here for business unit. And you can just create business unit 1, business unit 2, business unit 3, and set the values. And so a lot of the HR systems or wherever the data is coming from will already have that categorized. And so if you have that, then it's going to create all the business units along with the employees for you. So our customers love the fact that it's just really straightforward. They don't have to go through some long data conversion process to get up and running very quickly. And the last thing I wanted to show, because Becky mentioned it, is the impersonation capability. So if there's an employee that maybe says, I want to give us at a certain amount, but I'm not going to go into the system, could be some executive or somebody who just doesn't use the computer. You can go in and impersonate, if you're an administrator, you could then impersonate that user and basically experience the site as that individual, which is pretty cool. So I could go through the giving process and you'll see here that I'm impersonating this particular user. And so I can go give a gift on their behalf. Anyways, that's just a very quick highlight. There's a lot of other things we didn't get to around incentive programs and recognitions and gift plans and segmentation, but hopefully that gives you a good overview of a lot of the core features.
Yeah, that's great. And John, it looks like some people want to sign up, it seems to be, because the first question was, what's a typical implementation duration?
That's a good question. I think if it's a standard, a lot of it just depends on, we ship something out of the box and a lot of the things are built. Usually there's maybe a week or two of engagement to get to understand what it is they're looking to do, what kind of content they want to build. Are we going to be creating a custom theme or something for them? So it could be anywhere as quick as like a week or two to set it up, to as long as a month, 2 months to get everything set up, depending on the customizations and how far you need to take it.
So it's pretty fast. And then some of the other folks are asking, what tasks can be automated? You mentioned the email scheduling. What tasks can be automated?
What tasks can be automated? So all of the emails going in and out of the system. If you're provisioning multiple microsites, like I said, once you get one site created the way you want, you can then automate the deployment of those microsites and basically clone your one site all the way across. So that would be a form of automation. We've done some things around integration with either other HR systems or where we have to drop files into an SFTP or something and then get picked up. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that we've automated.
And then there's another question about what software is required to get started.
Just a web browser. So we have to work with just about every web browser because a lot of we work with a lot of schools and hospitals, and some of them aren't the quickest to upgrade the browsers. So we support back to like IE9 and up. So yeah, no software to install.
So there's not a lot of overhead that somebody has to invest in to get started.
That's right.
And then how does it relate? You mentioned the StratusLIVE CRM, StratusLIVE 365 product. How does this relate to that product line?
Well, this is really the web platform, if you will, for the CRM application. The CRM is the back end, and it handles pretty much all of the donor management, all of the marketing and solicitation, event management. It's a full enterprise-grade CRM, and these two solutions can integrate either in real time or on demand. You can set it up either way you want. So we partner with a lot of organizations who like to use the CRM to do even deeper segmentation and marketing, and then we'll use this solution to to raise the funds.
Great. Well, I think we're right at the 1 p.m. marker, and I certainly wanted to extend our appreciation to all the folks that participated. We'll be recording this webinar and actually sending it out to everyone that registered and attended. And we really appreciate Becky Sittason. Thank you so much, Becky, for being our special guest. We really are grateful. Thank you. And John Fenari and myself, Michael Kowalski, we just wanted to extend our appreciation for everyone that participated. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll look forward to the next webinar sessions. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.